This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are delighted to be joined once again with the Hammer, Padraig McCrory. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good, Morty. It's been a while.
It has. I guess the last time I seen you, you obviously were sort of carrying your two hands like a baby, sort of in the Féile. But I guess probably that's a good place to sort of look back on. Or what, 3 months? Probably
Yeah.
what, 12 weeks, three
Oh,
months since Féile.
is it 13 weeks today or
Yeah,
tomorrow?
maybe 12, 13 weeks. But
Hmm.
like I was sort of saying to Jamie, was it last week I interviewed him? I can still obviously hear your ring walk, tune in my ears. It's that
Yeah.
sort of feeling and that sort of memory. But I guess I've sort of grew up with your whole professional career. Sort of we met obviously in the good areas card and sort of come friendly and friendlier since. But like that song just keeps sticking in my head. And what was it like for yourself? Are you sort of still having to pinch yourself, sort of you've obviously got your big moment obviously in the Féile headline in your first card.
Yeah, listen, we headline in Belfast was always a goal of mine that was probably achievable on a much smaller scale than I thought that it actually like happened at. Um and yeah, like I just said, the ring walk, it's like I think the song's on nearly every day in my house. My kids love the song. And to get the guy that sings the song to actually come and do it was a special moment. Um, I, I've watched it back, and I probably wish I should have stayed on the stage for a bit longer and just soaked it up. But it was new, it was exciting, um, and it's it's definitely a memory for me and my family that will stick with us like for the rest of our lives.
I don't think Jamie and obviously anybody else would have obviously if you'd have stayed in the stage for longer. I'm not sure how many times the song was sung over. But the time obviously you got to start doing your ring walk, I'm sure they were sort of going like it's going to start turning light here. We're sort of going to lose our big moment. But I guess it's your moment. You don't want it to end, sort of thing. So, you know, when you're sort of, Ryan McMullen, I guess obviously his sales of singles and everything else and his views have all been up since because anybody didn't know who he was previously have been at that fight or watched the fight have that song stuck in their head now. It's like the bird song. It's like once it's in your head, it's never coming out.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a coincidence that a show sold out the week after the Philly event. Um, I'm actually going to it in the Ulster Hall. Me and my wife's going. We had this big tickets from somewhere because it was sold out. So we ended up getting sold thanks to my mate Michael Toole. So I'm looking forward to that. But again, I don't know. It just we were coming home from Germany and Colin McGuigan, I think, was the first to introduce me to the song, and then it's just a song like that I love. But yeah, it was a special night.
And I know obviously it's just passed a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I think it was 8 years just passed, and obviously you were at that sort of point. It's sort of an amateur box, and you were going, don't know what I'm sort of going to do next. Like for you to fast forward 8 years and to think of what you've been through, obviously 18 pro fights, 9 stoppages, IBO champion, WBC international champion, BUA Celtic champion. Like you couldn't have probably, yes, you could probably script it better, probably in some ways fighting Canelo and Casement Park or something like that. But obviously, you think of that 8 years has passed, that your perseverance. I remember at the start of your career when you were obviously having all the full field fights and stuff coming through. Been easy for you to pull the pin and go, I'll just go back to the gym.
Yeah, 8 years ago, I kind of like probably not for the first time, like, but it felt like it was the end of boxing for me. I was working in Thompson's, and then there was a guy that I was working with who was going to enter the Ulsters at the same weight as me, JP Delaney, and we were just joking and slagging, but deep down I knew I wasn't in the gym like training, and we were like, yeah, like both of us enter like a must fight. He ended up fighting Sean McGlinchey actually. I think Sean beat him in the final of the Ulsters, but the week before that I was like, nah, I'm in no shape, and I wasn't really focused on boxing. I just wanted to. Then I wanted to give it all up, and the fast forward 8 years, I definitely wouldn't have thought I'd be in the position that I am now. So it's been a roller coaster journey, as I said from the start, but one that I'm very happy that I stuck with it and done something that isn't usual for me is sticking something out, and I think I think my young family like, has helped me stick with it.
I was just going to say, sort of, you fast forwarding 8 years as well. Obviously, the maturity's kicked in. You obviously a married man with 3 kids, and everything else. It's funny how life sort of pans out for you. But I guess the good thing for you is you've always stayed grounded. You've stayed exactly the same as you were. Probably you're better at speaking. Probably now it's probably fair to say in that respect that it's brought the confidence sort of with that, with obviously your stammer and stuff like that. But do you think if 8 years has passed, I know you have the grey beard and stuff starting, but obviously when you think back on that, I guess it's a good thing for anybody. They look at it and go, where life's not giving them a good turn at the moment. If they persevere, it'll work itself out.
Yeah, definitely. Like even like things like this, like I would have got really anxious over doing interviews, and the more the more I kind of do them, the more I become like comfortable, and still now it's still something that I kind of think about, but I kind of made a choice at the start of my career, try not to let it like hold me back, and try to get as much exposure as possible. I as I say, I'm not one for slobbering or calling people out, so which I could probably do better to gain a bit more exposure, but in terms of interviews, um I try to approach up each one as a challenge and things like this. Like I see it as a small achievement each day.
Obviously, looking back, obviously on your fight with Steve Woodhull, I know obviously yeah, in the aftermath, straight after, you were sort of didn't like your performance and everything else like that. I think you've sort of spoke to me since, and you were sort of saying I actually boxed better than I thought I did.
Yeah, like I watched it back and obviously they try and be neutral, but like it's you in the ring when you're watching it back, and given the circumstances of the camp and the build up and the event and the atmosphere, I think I dealt with it fairly well. I won the fight clearly. Woodall was better than I expected. But there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Like obviously, like before fight, you kind of paint it as if it's all rosy, and you try to be as positive as possible. But um, the 13 weeks prior or now, um, post it's the reflection and the recovery has kind of been like I should have done it earlier, but I wouldn't have got the massive opportunities that I did fighting in BT, fighting in main event at the Féile, and so forth. But unfortunately, with what was going on, I didn't get to perform and put myself out there the way I wanted. But I also got them experiences and life experiences also.
And obviously, speaking of obviously life experience, obviously we know we spoke about this previously. Obviously, going on the management side of things, obviously Hammer Boxing is not only got one fighter now; it's got two. Obviously, you you're going to have your second fight, obviously with Gerard Hughes on the 2nd of December, and he's obviously in a domestic fight with Rudy Farrell. So I guess obviously it's a good place to start. Obviously, domestic fights are sort of what got your career going. Obviously, Sean McGlinchey fight in 24 hours notice at Titanic. This is
Yeah,
obviously a big moment for Gerard, and I guess it shows us probably a statement of intent that obviously people signing with Hammer Boxing are going to get big opportunities and big platforms like Matchroom and Eddie Hearn.
yeah. I kind of in the gym. I'm the oldest and like most experienced, and all the fighters like always seem to come to me for a bit of advice, as much as they all joke and slag. But like when things get serious, like they ask my advice, and boxing is something that I have a big passion for. So I kind of had a bit of involvement in getting Gerard a slot on the Galway card, which obviously didn't. It ended up falling through. But then I thought, you know what, um, management, a couple of fighters won't take too much of my time up. Um, and it's something that I can start to sort of build small relationships through, which I've done from signing the fighters. I've started speaking with people like Sam Kinnick, who I had a previous connection with. Um, so yeah, I got Gerard on the Féile, and now he's on probably the biggest card Belfast has definitely seen. Obviously, it's hard to say on him because you got the Kitty Killer shows, but definitely one of the biggest cards in terms of depth. The Belfast has done in a long time. Obviously, you've the world title fights and the Burnett cards and the Conlan cards and Frampton cards, but I mean, in terms of 4 or 5 big fights, that's like that's in this cards. It's amazing. So it was a bit of a coup for me to get Gerard on. There's only 8 fights. It's Matchroom. Um, the the big machine is rolling in, and unfortunately, I'm not involved for myself, but I'm involved in a way that I have a managed fighter getting a massive opportunity.
And obviously, like the opportunities can sort of come from this. Like, sort of, this is putting Gerard in the shop window as well. Obviously, I know you manage him, but promotionally wise, it sort of, if Eddie Hearn and stuff take a liking to him, even obviously if Jamie obviously take a liking to him as well, he could obviously sign a promotional deal sort of somewhere there as well. So, like, it's a perfect opportunity that probably you would have probably wanted at the stage at Gerard's at in his career. Obviously, I know it took you a bit longer to sort of, was it around about 5, 6 fights in before you started to sort of get noticed with your knockouts, but this is a perfect opportunity for Gerard now to put himself in the shop window and get a promotional deal out of it off the back end of it as well.
Yeah, at the start of my career, I begged and done done a lot, like a lot of things that I needed to do to get on shows and get on platforms to progress my career. But George George got these opportunities, um, and they're big opportunities. I think he's good enough. I think he's good enough to take advantage of them. I know Common Boxing have plans to put on quite a few shows. Um, and yeah, and they're taking people on promotional contracts instead of management contracts. So it's something that we'll definitely look into. And then I'm definitely looking forward to getting Owen O'Neill started. He's a whole new team. Um, and the new year is it's going to be a good year for Owen as well.
It's sort of, I know obviously we're still sort of fresh from obviously him coming in overweight for the fight with Pacheco, but I guess a good thing is a complete new fresh start. Obviously, he's maybe trained by Dan Anderson, obviously he's worked with before. Obviously, been managed by yourself, you've known him day in, day out, sort of, the last 4 or 5 years as well. So I guess in some ways it's not sort of discrediting D or Mark and or anything else. Owen needed a fresh start from obviously what just happened so that we can finally figure everything out and get him at the true weight he wants to fight at. And obviously he can sort of try his very best to sort of put the past behind him and move forward.
Yeah, like if you if you strip it back, they could probably look Mark's known as one of the best managers like in the UK, and he has a great relationship like with his fighters, and these got Irish boxing coach of the year the last 2 years. So there was a strong team there, but with Owen, unfortunately, like he missed weight and it didn't look good. But I think it's probably the rocket up the hole that he needs. I think he realizes that the onus it kind of falls on him, and he has to deal with that. And I've liked his attitude from like it's happened. He's took it in the chin. He's hit the gym, and me, I have a great relationship like with Dan as well. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. And again, with some of the links that I have in Belfast and Ireland, I think we can get one involved in a couple of very good fights. I would like to get him a fight at a weight where he's comfortable with first. Obviously, he's he's 12-0 now, but definitely with like the whole new change of team, I think there's a cautious approach first before throwing him in the deep end.
Particularly obviously what he's been through, obviously losing obviously his granny and his grand obviously in what less than 18 months sort of. So at least it's getting him used to obviously training with Dan again, obviously, and used to sort of building up and like probably that potential you have with the ones probably similar to yourself where I know he's never like to be classified as ticket sellers, but Owen can sell tickets, the Eskimo sort of thing, so you have that sort of thing, which is going to help as well and get them on the cards because that's why ideally it is nowadays. If you can sell tickets, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes if you can't even walk, sort of, they'd still put you on the card. So that's a good onus to have when the time's right and ready. You can get him into fights because he's going to sell a good lot of tickets.
Yeah, listen, being classed as a ticket seller, I kind of took a bad at the start, but like it's the thing that got me the opportunities to like produce my talent, and if I hadn't have been able like to do that, I probably wouldn't have got the opportunities like to do that. So listen, Owen's 12-0. He won a BUI
Killed
light
it,
middleweight title
killed it,
last year.
like
Yeah.
well.
So he's kind of all the hard work were the ones done. It's kind of I think he's still probably going through a grieving phase, which he hasn't properly did or like dealt with because obviously you've seen like, the way he get on the scales. But a small rebuild, and then I think he's ready to kick on towards like an Irish title, hopefully a welterweight.
I guess they as I said to him sort of afterwards, like many a man would have sort of seen they were overweight and wouldn't even bother turning up, saying, "Oh, pulled up an injury or I'm down with a flu or something the day of the weigh-in." He came. They obviously first played to apologise. The Deco, which obviously shows exactly the sort of person he is. And I know people will lambast him and everything else, saying it's a disgrace he missed weight, but at the same time, he showed up and he stood there and he obviously apologized and everything else. And that shows you exactly the type of person he is.
Yeah, he's a genuine guy. Like he like owns a good heart, and he, known him for 5 years now. He's one of the lads. Like, and he probably could have made a bit later, but I don't know the full circumstances. But he showed up, and they tried to sort something out. But obviously it was like beyond repair. And the fight didn't go ahead. And I was glad to see Deco get a fight shortly after. And from what I hear, he's he's done. But uh, I appreciate it, and I like the way Deco kind of went about it as well. He he didn't come out shooting and balling, which he probably had a bit of a right to do. And I actually texted him recently saying that I think he's matured a lot through his career, and he's turned out to be a decent guy.
Definitely is. Obviously, the December 2nd card, I guess, obviously you're not going to be on it, and it's probably killing you not to be on it, obviously, when you're seeing the card that it is. It probably takes us back to probably Windsor Park in 2018. Obviously a big card, and you were sort of able to remember you running about, having to come out of the VIP to drink a pint and stuff like that. Probably nearly is that sort of feeling for you again. It's sort of a big card you're not going to be on, but it's massive ramifications probably for your next step because if everything goes great with Matchroom, the link up's already there with obviously Mick being signed to Matchroom. But if they work more with Conlan Boxing, there's an even bigger opportunity probably for you in 2024.
Yeah, listen. Firstly, like the card, it's like we've already touched on it that it's a great card, and it's probably the first time mixed fought. It is the first time mixed fought in Belfast, and I haven't been a part of it. And it's on Matchroom Sports. It's to me, it's probably the biggest boxing company in the world, and not be involved, it kind of hurts. But the link ups, I think, with Jamie and Matchroom working together can benefit me like massively. They obviously have some of the biggest super middleweights in the world, and and Colin McGuigan, who is always name dropping me, which I'm very grateful for. I'm kind of on the tip of the tongues where I could get a big opportunity like next year, and I know Jimmy is speaking with a few different people, a few different fighters, and from what I hear, like we're we're very close to getting one of the top 10 in the WBA.
And obviously that's what you want because I guess that would nearly act as a final eliminator probably in a way as well with you ranked number three. It's funny, obviously I remember when I first spoke to Eddie in Nottingham. I think it was at Nottingham, obviously for Conlan Wood or Wood Conlan. And obviously I tried to name drop you for obviously Jack Cullen at that stage, and Eddie hadn't heard of you. And obviously with what Coleman's been doing and everybody else been doing since, obviously Eddie knows exactly who you are now, and he's probably watching a lot more footage of you and seeing if he can sort something out for you.
Yeah, isn't it? And it's strange because my debut was on a Matchroom card, so obviously I was way low on the card, and I remember making a comment about McCrory's fans like was making all the noise, and then I thought he kind of got me and Fergal McCrory like mixed up because that night my fans were going to see him. Um, but yeah, um, thanks to like reporters like yourself and Colin McGuigan, and hopefully my own performances, he started taking notice. And obviously with a decent ranking in a couple of the of the governing boards, I'm close to I'm close to getting on a massive platform and hopefully taking that opportunity like with both hands.
When you obviously speak in hands there, obviously how are the hands? Are they healing rightly? Obviously, I know you were back punching for the first time again last week.
Yeah, listen, they're healing. Yeah, it's been a long 13 weeks. I'm not going to say things are perfect, but they're a lot better. If I needed to fight like early next year, I'm more confident that I'll be ready.
And sort of looking, obviously, you're in your longest sort of streak without obviously a knockout, and that's probably down to your hand as well. Obviously, do your tools, do the things that get the job done. You're three straight fights without a stoppage since the Leon Bunn fight. I guess you're just keeping obviously a nasty KO on someone until it's really needed.
You know, like my three fights after Bun, well, especially two of them anyway, have been against kind of like lesser opponents where I probably should be knocking out. And I haven't. And I listen, you can look for excuses. I don't know. When I'm in the ring, I can't recall any real moments thinking shit my hands are done. But it's the preparation, it's the build up, it's the sparring, it's the sharpness, and it just wasn't there like for them two fights. And I'm the type of guy that wants to be involved in 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 every show, and even the show coming up, Lewis and Tyrone were announced first, and I thought that's a great show, but I do need to recover. And then I heard Matchroom were getting involved, so then I started going, could I be ready? Could I be ready? And I spoke with Jimmy, and we agreed that the time isn't right.
You're probably better to have a bit longer recovery. Obviously, I know it doesn't help you. Obviously, if we keep you in the gym and keep you working towards a fight, it keeps the weight down, keeps you out of that biscuit tin.
That's
Um,
good.
but obviously, I guess the good thing is particularly with your hands, is sort of getting a bit longer time to heal. Obviously, I mean, if you can get a big fight next, happy days rather than risking it. Maybe and it's not so big a fight or not so big money on the line. You want to be able to be 100% for your biggest fight rather than obviously something that's building up to something.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like we're kind of at the stage where like I've had three fights that I was meant to win, and it's kind of at the stage now where I don't want to be taking the fan. Not that I have been taking the fans on, because when I show up and fight, I'm showing up like to give my all. But the fans, I don't even like saying fans either. It's not my thing. But anyway, um,
Family.
the family, the Hammer family. I want to give them that big fight. I want to give them something back for always like coming out and support me. So if I, I feel like they deserve um they deserve a big fight and a big performance from me.
Definitely, I guess that's the one thing. Obviously, we know you've been on the sort of cusp, and obviously, I know the ABO is not regarded as being one of the genuine big four, but you've got a taste for it now. You went away as the underdog. You destroyed Leon Bunn. So now people want to see the next level. Can Potty do it against Diego Pacheco? Can he do it against the Canelo? Can he do it against? You want to see how far you can go, push yourself to the absolute limit. And when you power in both hands, there's nothing to stop you from doing it.
And listen, that's exactly what I want to see as well. I like I always said, I want to see how far I can go. And if I stop now and didn't, I feel like I did myself a disservice. I just want to see like what I can achieve, and like if that means stepping up a step too far and taking a defeat, then I know like my limits, and but I truly believe that that in a fight I can beat almost anything. Like even Canelo, like he is the ultimate superstar, and I'm actually a massive fan of his. But the opportunity like to fight him, like would be a dream of mine. Like and I might sound a bit of a fanboy, but I would be getting in there fully confident that I'm going to give my best and hopefully beat him.
Do you sort of look at him? Obviously, I know where you're a big fan of still of him as well, but do you sort of look at his face and you're going, if I just hit you there, in the cheekbone, you're going down, you're not getting up. Do you sort of look at it that way? Do you have to have that vicious part?
I believe everybody can be knocked out. He's been hit clean by one of the biggest punchers in history in Glocfin, so who knows? But even when he was here, he was here from is it Garcia you called him?
I think it was Garcia.
Yeah. So and like I knew he was ringside, and I was looking to see if I get a photograph with him, but I think I just didn't get the opportunity. Um, but yeah, listen, I'm kind of I'm ranked number 3 with the BA. On the cusp of the top 10 with the IBF, and now what's the old saying? Keep going till your foes become your or. But I know there's a bit there's like a wee saying, but my idol is becoming now somebody that I
Your
would
idol
want to fight.
becomes your rival.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And obviously that's there's a slim chance of that happening, but there's definitely big fights out there for me. Like you look at Pacheco, you look at Berlanga and the Canadian Barzine, and then you have like the number 4 in Hernandez, who is based in Germany, Cuban. Like, and these are all fights that I want to be involved in.
There's definitely obviously I'm sort of just looking in box right here, and obviously the amount of names that's there. Obviously, someone I tried to get you maybe 2 years ago was sort of rekindled his thing as well. And Jack Cullen, I know you probably not discrediting Jack Cullen, but you want to be able to get the bigger fights. Obviously, a fight with Jack Cullen with his hard head and everything else, you could end up obviously doing damage to your hands and neck bait. So
Yeah.
you have to aim at the very top and work your way down.
So now I can't really say that I'm like any further on like than these guys because they're the ones fighting on Sky and Matchroom. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I'm trying to look at them top 10 and look at fighting one of them, and 2 years ago I was chasing that fight. If it was after me, I would really consider it. But for me, I want to aim for like an eliminator, at the least a final eliminator. And I don't know. Something tells me that Matchroom mightn't want Pacheco to be in a final eliminator to fight Dave Morrell. I don't know. I don't know. It's just something in my own head. Um, so they may go a different route. But yeah, they listen. LA is it's a great place. It's a place where I went on my honeymoon just before my pro debut. And 9 months later, like my son was born. So it could be a place that's destined for me.
And then there'll be another baby on the way, and that'll be number 4. Come on then.
Oh God.
Um, where do you sort of when you started to look, because obviously now you've been in the management side as well, you start to have to plan and stuff in advance. So where do you sort of look at the next 12 months sort of in boxing being, is it growing, obviously hammer boxing more, obviously personally, obviously for yourself, what would you like to do over the next 12 months? Are you probably at that limit now of 2 to 3 fights a year with your hands?
Yeah. Probably. Listen, I, if the right fight's offered, like I'm gonna jump on it. But I think I'm at the stage where it has to be the right fight because with the few niggles that I have and my age, it'd be pointless for me now. I think that they take a lesser fight with probably as much risk for a fraction of the money, you know. And in terms of hammer boxing, I want to be able to give like my fighters the best opportunities, and at the minute I don't think I could do that with 5, 6, 7 fighters. So I'm going to keep it small to probably maximum 3 fighters. I have another one in mind that that I might that I hope to meet with soon. Um, and I would even look at taking on a few road warriors. Obviously, like the white collar seems becoming quite big in Belfast, and I think there's a few of them who are more capable. And instead of fighting for nothing and fighting in 50-50 fights, I don't think there's any reason why they shouldn't go on the road and make decent money.
It was very good.
Um,
Get out of being a journeyman.
yeah. So summer boxing it's a passion of mine at the minute, but there there is a potential that it could go further. Um, but listen, like it's early stages at the minute.
You sort of just cut out there a wee minute? You must have got no vacation.
Oh
Is it
yeah,
sort of, are you sort of maybe looking at maybe potentially doing a show? I'm not sure if that's what you're saying. Maybe looking at potentially doing a show or just fight.
yeah. I eventually I would love to do a show. Yeah. Um, eventually it's something that I would love to do. And with fighters like Owen and Gerard, Owen's a good ticket seller, and Gerard and Owen's 12-0. So he's if we get him a fight or two, like it's definitely something we can look at sort of towards the middle of the year. So all early stages. But there's a lot of opportunity in Belfast with boxing building. Um, there's I think there's still a small void for I like in all sports. I think there's levels and certain levels that you need to come through, like the small hall scene, like where from where I came from. And unfortunately, Mark Dunlop's been the only man that's been doing that. I know Jay Byrne has a few shows planned for next year, but I don't think there's any reason for why there couldn't be another show there for me, like next year.
Definitely, it's good to push yourself out of them, push yourself out of the comfort sort of you get into. Particularly, you've been a boxer and obviously pushing yourself, on a daily basis, sort of different fights and everything else. So at least you push your boundaries. You can see where you're meant to be with obviously hammer boxing rather than just obviously managing fighters. Maybe put
Mhm.
on a show. Like I guess it's like anything until you do it, you think it's easy. You've been in the background, obviously seeing shows and then going, let me do one myself and see how hard it is and see if it's something I want to do or what just want to stay away from.
Yeah, no, like listen, as I said, I've had small conversations, and I have a good man and like who I can bounce things off and get a checklist and like in Jamie. So uh, I have decent contacts. I built good relationships through boxing in my whole life, but in professional boxing in the last 7 years, I have a great relationship with the British Boxing Board as well, with John Campbell and Martin Duffy, and uh, and a man that I was very fond of in the late Q Russell. So I have a great relationship with Emmons, which always helps. Um, yeah, so I think the potential is there, but my main focus right now is me securing the biggest fight possible for myself.
Definitely. Well, listen, obviously, I know I'm just sort of looking at the timer and it's saying there's 3 minutes left. I probably didn't
Yeah,
plan. We'll probably have about a half an hour interview, but good to
no.
good to get a catch up before obviously all the manic stuff obviously happens. I'm obviously in Letterkenny next weekend, Dublin the week after, then Belfast. So it's sort of the next 3 weeks. I'm sort of all over the place a wee bit, but I'm sure we'll no doubt catch up either in the gym or obviously on fight week for obviously Conlan Gill.
Yep, I will see you there. All the best in Letterkenny, and it's good to hear from you, mate.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon, Paddy.
All the best. Take it easy.
Cheers, see you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.